So you read the title. I'm proud of you. You can read. We are here to talk about what life is like at a missile alert facility. And when people think of Minot in general, they probably think it's really cold. But what they should be thinking about is that we house two legs of the nuclear triad right here at Minot Air Force Base. So to talk about one of those legs, we have folks who support the missile mission. And let's go ahead and introduce all our players here. We'll start off at the far end of the table.
Hello, I'm Senior Airman Hyam. I'm a missile chef over here at the 5th FSS. I help support and sustain all of the people who work in the MAF.
Yeah. I'm A1C King. I'm part of the 891 MSFS. I'm in art, and my job and role is pretty much to respond to any alerts or responsibilities going on at LFs or anything like that, pretty much just anything going on.
My name is Master Sergeant Marquez. I'm a missile alert facility manager. My job is just making sure that the facility doesn't burn down so that these guys can do their job more efficiently.
Excellent. So we all know who I am. I'm the host of the show. I've been here for a while. But just so people understand, we have to get out some of the definitional work at the top. Not everybody knows acronyms. Not everybody knows even what the military does. So what is a missile alert facility? Who wants to handle that question?
So a missile alert facility is a secure above ground complex housed to secure and support personnel with an underground launch control center for monitoring and launching intercontinental ballistic missiles. So that's what you're going to get if you Google it, right? But it doesn't really, what is that? What does that even say? Right. So it's just a missile alert facility is a facility out usually in the middle of nowhere. That's where they like to put them. And responsible for 10 other actual launch facilities, right? So we're not launching anything from the missile alert facility. That's just where all the alerts come in and say, hey, there's something wrong at this site. Your art's got to go check it out. They'll go respond to that. And it just houses the FM, the art teams, the chef, and then your missileers.
And what's the art team?
That'd be me. So we're an alert response team. So at all the LFs or launch facilities, pretty much for shorter, if there's an alarm going off, it could be a rabbit, could be the wind, could be someone messing with something out there. Yeah. We would go respond and challenge them as security forces to do our job.
Okay. Now, what is an alert like generally, if you were trying to make it as simple as possible for people, how would you describe an alert?
Yeah, so it's when you're at the MAF, there's like a little red light system and it will be popping up and you'll be just chilling out and you'll just see a red light pop up. It's pretty funny.
That's an alert.
Yeah. But yeah, you would then go to your FSC. They're pretty much in charge of looking out for all the LFs in the area. And you'll see like, hey, what's going on? They'll tell you where to go. And you got to respond there, grab all your gear, get ready, and prepare.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically being ready, being on standby for anything that could possibly happen.
Correct.
Let's get a description of people's jobs and responsibilities, and we're gonna save what might be the best for last. So we're gonna get to you as the chef, but let's start with our FM. What is an FM? What do you do on a daily?
Simply, right, if we want to talk about it just first simply, that's what it is, right? A facility manager, you're managing the facility. And you got your facility managers around base who might be familiar with the term, and you got those things where it's like, hey, clean up the weeds so far out from your facility, do your spot checks here and there to make sure everything's okay, right? But out there in the missile fields, it's a little bit more in depth because you have also the whole landscaping aspect to it also, right? And then there's just certain things that you have to deal with that are going on as far as knowing how your water room works, how your electrical systems in the MAF works, knowing how to operate equipment in order to conduct snow removal operations, doing landscaping such as like mowing the grass, trimming the weeds all around the facility, right? So you got roughly about maybe 5 acres out there that you're caring for and making sure that everything's running smooth in that MAF for, like I said earlier, these guys to be able to do what they need to do, right? You have multiple recreational activities out there. You want to make sure everything's working for them, that there's a gym that everybody can utilize that is still functional, that when the chef's in there cooking, he's not setting off circuit breakers, and if it is, you got to figure out what's going on, what's happening, and then obviously put in those work orders to CE whenever you need some assistance, whenever something that you can't figure out yourself. And it's also supporting the crew downstairs, right? So you are responsible to go down there and do daily checks and make sure that all of their life support systems are running properly. And then you got your procedures that you got to follow if there's something that's wrong. You know, and the good thing about that is everything's written down.
Yeah.
Everything's in a book. You got a problem out there as an FM, you look at the book. It's more than likely going to tell you, hey, if you're experiencing this issue, do this, right? And so if you can't figure it out, another great thing is you might be the only FM at your site responsible for, you know, their morale and their welfare, but you have other FMs out there that if you have any questions or any problems, you just give them a call, right? And more than likely, somebody out there has experienced the exact problem you're going through, and you guys can solve it over the phone, through Messenger, or whatever you guys got to do.
Yeah, with the network, you can make anything happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, are you on call if something goes? Even if you're sleeping, they're like,
Even
hey, I need your
if
help.
you're sleeping, anything happens, you're getting woken up. And usually it's one of the art team members that are on nights. They'll come knock on your door and say, "Hey, sir, we got you know, X, Y, and Z going on." One of the more common ones, at least at the site that I'm always at, is during the months where we have storms, thunderstorms, a lot of rain. There's like a water room alarm that'll go off. It means something's wrong with our water tanks, with our water system, or the power went out and came back on real quick, and it made the water room act funky. So there's a blue light that they have in their office that'll trip off and just be annoyingly going off. So they'll come wake you up, and then you get to step out. Luckily, you know, for you, the water room facility is separate from the main facility, so you get to take a stroll in the rain and go out there and you know, figure out what's going on and get it all taken care of, and then go try to fall back asleep and take care of anything that pops up for these guys.
Or, you know, you get woken up by some cold rain, and you're like, you know what? Now I'm awake.
Oh yeah,
yeah, good.
It's a little difficult to fall back asleep
Yeah.
after that, but you give it your best shot.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Let's talk to our art team member. So, what is it that you do as security forces at a MAF?
So for security forces, we're pretty much there if anything goes sideways. So we're responding to alarms. We're there for movements for the convoy operations.
Yeah.
We do exercises with TRF. We're pretty much just constantly staying ready for a fight. We don't really do as much cool things as them. They probably get a little more wider opportunity than us, but still we're pretty valuable to the 2/3 of the nuclear triad, which
Yeah,
is not. And I think that everyone in security forces gets a pretty good opportunity coming here. It gets you pretty squared away, gets you locked in with the mission. For me as an art, I've done a lot. I've gotten multiple TDY opportunities just from being where I'm at, and I've enjoyed every second of it, and I've just loved it. Like you really get the full experience being here.
From what I've talked about with other folks who have been in your position, there can be a little bit of stress of, hey, that alert comes on, and you're like, oh, what is it this time? Is it gonna be that bunny, or is it gonna be wind that moved a sensor, or is it some guy who's like lost his mind and is trying to access something he's not supposed to? Do you feel a little bit of that nervousness, or at this point has it sort of subsided?
Oh, most definitely. You're always going to be feel pretty nervous about it because you never know what it's going to. Well, you do know what it's going to be, but still, it's just anything can happen out there. They always harp on that with us, like always be ready, always be prepared, and just stay in the fight, like be there. And like it does suck at times because you'll go to an alarm, you'll come back the moment you get the truck unloaded, boom.
That's another one.
Right
Yeah.
back out, and it's like it's frustrating at times, but I mean, you got someone with you there just to deal with the suck.
Yeah,
So,
somebody's in it with you. I think they call that embracing the suck.
yeah,
I've heard that my whole career.
Can I just say, sometimes, like, even when, like he's saying, when it's you see them unload the truck and they got to go right back out, there's times where, you know, the chef puts out the food, or like everybody's ordered, and you realize, like, hey, those are breakfast items and we're already past lunch, and like these guys haven't even been back long enough to grab a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Or they're like right back out to where they can't even sit down and enjoy a meal. So yeah, it's definitely when you see them going through that, you're definitely like, wow, these guys they're out there getting it done.
Well, we're proud to have you guys out there doing the job, but I think the most important person in the room, sitting right across from me. Let's talk the chef, uh, Colonel Slaybaugh. You're the wing commander for the 91st. Has said that you are the belly button of morale at a MAF, which is something I've never necessarily heard as phrase, but when he said it, it made absolute sense. So, as the belly button of morale, describe your job to us.
Yeah, so I'm here for the 3 meals a day. These individuals will put an order in, and I'm here to cook it up, right? I can be the either the worst part of your trip or the best part of your trip. So that's a big morale part because if I'm serving you dry chicken, you're not gonna want to eat that. If I'm serving you phenomenal chicken where it's coming straight off the grill and you're getting it ready to go, boom, yeah, let's go. Let's get this work done. Let's get these 12s done. Let's get this shift done. But working with these guys is very admirable because it's also we're working with missileers, working with security forces, working with the FMs.
Yeah.
I'm also the second responder during this whole operation, so I'm pretty much his sidekick. So when he's going out in the rain, I'm right there next to him, getting it done with him. But waking up, getting these guys served is pretty much my number one mission here.
So that makes you a little bit of the multi-capable airman of like you're gonna have to be able to do some things that aren't necessarily in your job description as someone who's a chef, but you're being a supportive airman.
Oh yeah, yes sir. Yeah. When he's getting down and dirty, I'm getting down and dirty with him, right? He's Batman, I'm Robin, right? That's pretty much the best way I can explain it. And then, like for example, during this shift, I got waking up at 2 a.m. from the FM. We had some flooding going on downstairs. We had to go downstairs with him. Didn't even get 2 hours of sleep. Woke back up, got breakfast out. So it was pretty quick, easy, ready to go.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things where, yeah, it sucks, but when you're in it together, it doesn't feel so bad, right? Like everybody, you're out there for a week at a time, and I think that's something that's pretty unique to of all these bases. We're going out a week at a time. We're going out together, and we're making this happen. So, do you feel like you build really good connections when you're out there with each other? What's that like?
Yeah, absolutely, and especially when it's trip back in day for you, right? So it's a Thursday, and you and your chef are getting ready to come back to base. And when the other FM and chef arrive there to relieve you, well, you guys are waiting on your missile crews to do turnover. So that's when the stories start. They say, "Well, how'd you guys this week go?" And you guys can tell them like, "Oh man, hey, good luck. You know, we had this happen, we had this go down. You know, and there was just you and the chef swapping stories with the oncoming FM and the chef, and you know." Laughs can be had, and you can laugh about it then, right? But it is one of those where you start forming those bonds with each chef that you have through those adverse moments, right? Little bit of trauma bonding going on in the field.
Yeah.
So it's a good time, and then you start to learn the rotation of the chefs. You start to learn like who's who, and like how he said, hey, he could be the maker or breaker of your tour. And I think me and a lot of FMs like to live by the simple rule of you don't make angry the guys who control your food or the guys who have guns. So you learn to get along. You learn to get along with everybody and try to have a good time out there because you're already out there for a week. So why not, as you're getting things done, there's no reason you can't have fun, but still maintain that lethality and readiness at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, everybody. I kind of like to think about this because, Colonel Slaybaugh told me, is that a week out at a MAF is kind of like a mini deployment. That these squadrons who are out there are applying the Aphrogen cycle at the 91st through this week-long alert. So when you're out there, does it feel like a mini deployment, or does it feel more like, because you've probably deployed before overseas? What are some of the nuances and differences?
It can be similar in terms of just for me personally, right? Being a family man, it can be similar in terms of being away, right? So when something happens, I'm at the MAF, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, and I think that's where it's like, okay, if they really needed something, right, then they could swap me out, do something like that. But for the most part, you're not you're not leaving that site for anything other than like a strict emergency, whether personal family matters or whatever it may be. But just being away, I think is probably one of the most similar things. It presents its own like unique challenges out there. And honestly, I think I've had better internet service on some deployments than way out there, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so there's some points where, you know, everything goes down and you're like, hey, we're just gonna break out some board games and just go, you know, old school with it to entertain ourselves out here. But like I said, as long as you guys can all get together and have a good time, and it really all just depends on the crew that you have. There's sometimes where the stars and planets align and every single one of your arts are cool and your chef is great and everybody's just having a great time out there together.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it, that separation from family. I think it might be, you know, less complicated. It's not any less difficult, but it's a little bit less complicated if you're young and single, and there's not anybody waiting for you at home. But what do you see from folks who have family? Is that something that really drains on them?
As far as like the family portion,
Yeah, like being separated.
it can be, especially because it depends on your schedule, right? And your schedule depends on your manning. So we try to get people out of the field for 2 weeks after they've done 1 week out there.
Yeah.
Right. To allow for family time and allow for any training days and things that you might have to catch up on back at your squadron. There are times where it's necessary that you do what we refer to as back-to-backs, right? I'm sure these guys are no strangers to that term either. So that just involves you, hey, you came back on a Thursday and you're right back out that next Thursday.
Wow.
And sometimes you got to do those a couple times in a row. That's why I call them back-to-backs, right? And then just keep going until they can figure out a better manning rotation, or you guys get some new inbounds, and then you can get those 2 weeks back from the field. So that schedule can be a little rough, right? And I know there's probably people that are going to listen to this and be like, yo, it's still a week off. You know what I mean? And a lot
of but you come back and you're training, and you have to, there's obligations that you still have.
And I had that same mindset, right?
Yeah.
When I first got here, and they were telling me, they were like, hey, well, you know, just so you know, there is the potential for back-to-backs to occur. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, well, it's a week on, week off, but that's not like the norm that we shoot for. And coming from CE, I was like, a week off? I said, I've never had a week off. That's crazy. That still sounds awesome. But shortly after that, I started pulling back-to-backs, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This isn't cool at all. But you know, you got to do it. You got to get it done. And they're pretty good at getting you on the backside, right? Saying, okay, now it's your turn to have your 2 weeks out of the field and get you whatever family time it may be. And I keep saying family time, but I know we got like single airmen out there too. So whatever it is that they need to get back and do just to decompress and get ready to do it again.
Is that your guys' situation? Are you young, single kind of guys?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm about to go to a back-to-back. Like, I just came back yesterday, and I'm getting ready to go back on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
To a whole different side, actually. So it's just getting that mind prepared. You're getting prepared, getting out there. At least bring your toothbrush so you don't forget that. You don't want to forget that.
No, you don't want to forget your toothbrush. That's like, what am I doing if I don't have a toothbrush? But I think that's, you know, I hear about this rotation of like, you go out for a week and 2 weeks off. And some of the other missile wings, they have a different system where they go out for like a day or a day and two, and then they come back, but then they might be out like a few days later. All things considered, even a week out there or back-to-backs, I kind of like the system that we have. Is that something that you guys, where they, like, when they're pitching the rotation, is that something they bring up, is like other missile wings do it differently and maybe arguably worse?
I have heard about that schedule, and I've had people try to explain it to me. I still don't understand what it is that they do. It's something like, like you were saying, like, oh, they go out for like 3 days, and then they're on some type of status for like another 4, and then that. And I say, I think the schedule we got is working great. And as far as I know, you know, if you're knocking out these NSIs, then you're doing something great. You know, you're doing something right. So if we're going through these NSIs and we're getting just outstanding marks on it, then just, hey, let's keep the schedule as is and keep it going like that.
obviously, I don't want to necessarily throw shade, but I absolutely have to talk about how, yeah, we're crushing it at Minot. Absolutely, we're doing really well here. Maybe it's the personnel who come here. Maybe it's the way we do things. But yeah, if you want to get on the same level, maybe try copying the master. So we we have a few more things that I want to talk about because we talked about um, each individual jobs. What's the surprising upside of being out at a MAF? What's something that people might not consider that's actually like, oh, that's great.
I think just knock out the obvious ones, right? Schooling, right? The amount of time that you have to knock out schooling is going to far surpass that, I think, of any other career field out there. You have a week out there, and as long as you've knocked out all your mandatory checks and nothing crazy is going on at your MAF, you basically have a whole week to do your general discussions, do your 3 replies to your classmates and knock out your tests that you got to do. On top of that, with your 2 weeks out in the field, if training has gone good and everything's going great, that's more time that you got back home to knock out more schooling. So I know schooling is a big motivator for people that come to be FMs, and I've known quite a few FMs that have crossed over to be officers as a result of all that schooling time that they got. And then another one, right, for a lot of people was a motivator for myself. Excuse me. Is there's times in your career field where you can feel like you're just drowning, right? And you feel like you're just spinning wheels, you're not going anywhere. Maybe what you need is just a break, right? Get a break from your career field, come do this for about 3 years, get that breath of fresh air, and then go back and knock it out for however long you want to take it, back to those 20 years or whatever it may be. So the cool thing is everybody's got their reasons and the upside for coming here. A lot of it is school, a lot of it is just catching that breath. And then a lot of it is like, hey, this would be a great way to just go into retirement.
Yeah.
So as far as the FM goes, you got a blend of all those reasons to be here. And we got guys who have been anywhere on the spectrum from 8 years to, 19 years.
Right.
So that's some of the more obvious upsides to at least being an FM here in the missile fields.
What about for the art team? What's the surprising thing that you've learned that is like a really nice upside?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say it's just how close you get with people out there. I mean, you're out there for a week and you gotta try to make conversation, or else it's gonna be like a really awkward week for you. Just no music, no nothing. But you get really close with people from just doing the exercises, being out there. Like me and my buddies, we used to do ping pong tournaments. We'd bring our own console out and like do video game tournaments. Like you just look for things to make your own fun out there, and you get real close with the people, and you do have a blast.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like you're gonna have to say something unique because they might have taken the best ones, but
we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. What's the surprising upside for you?
I guess it's just the peace out there, right?
Wow.
I'm a cook, so I only need to be there for like maybe an hour cooking, and then come back in my room. I can have some peace. Of course, I can do some schooling. I can get on the game if I want to. But it's also the camaraderie, 100%. Like if you're on that better side of being the chef, not less the worst side. You're a good individual.
You're
right?
less skilled.
Yeah.
So
if you're on that better side and you're kind of a good chef, everyone's saying thank you, very appreciative of your work, and you just want to enhance your craft even more and more. And when you hear those compliments, you want to get these guys fed. You want to get these guys just like ready to go, get their mission done.
What saying the peace out there, that's actually not something that I expected you to say, because people have talked about how it's quiet and it's a good opportunity to slow down, get away from the noise. But it sounds like a really unique opportunity. I enjoyed my deployment of, it's a different pace of life whenever I went, but I think it would be interesting to see life through your guys' eyes. Maybe one day I will be an FM.
There you go.
Sounds like a cool opportunity.
Yeah, come on over.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about? I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but what are some of the things that you feel like you missed out on because you were out at a MAF? Because that's the reality, is that you miss out on stuff. You miss out on special occasions for your kids or for your spouse. What are things that you might have missed out on because you were out?
I would say holidays, 100%. Of course, we do celebrate holidays. The chef, we'll cook something up nice for the individuals over there. But more holidays. I mean, I'm a single airman, but I have friends still, right? And I want to spend time with them, of course. And that's just a kind of a downer of being out there. It's just missing those times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all about sacrifices. I mean, you know what you're signing up for when you sign that little dotted line to join the military.
Right.
So for like me, like there have been times I wanted to go home, go see my family for like birthdays, special occasions, and I can't because I'm just happen to be out that week. And you could kind of play with it if you put in the leave early enough, get everything signed out.
Mm.
But still, there's just times where like, hey, we don't have the manning.
Yeah.
You gotta go. I'm sorry. And it just comes down to sacrifices. You gotta know just to roll with the punches, keep going.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's almost funny sometimes because we joke about it, at least amongst the FMs. Like I mentioned earlier, just bonding through those hard times. It's when we're getting closer to those big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that. We'll look at the schedule and say, "Oh man, I'm out for Thanksgiving," and then we say, "Well, I was out for last Thanksgiving too." And so you start talking amongst yourselves, and you're like, "Hey, so was I." So at that point, the schedule is what it is, and you can't do anything except laugh about it
Yeah.
and try to have the best time that you can out there. There are holidays that come up that you're out there for, but if you guys are making the best of it, like it could be great out there too. We have grill out there, smoker out there, so there's no reason. So I know some FMs that bring their own meats out there, smoke for the whole MAF, and you guys can have a feast out there for some of the bigger holidays. The chefs have their own menu that they prepare, and they're working on that thing all day long. So you guys can get together and have a good meal and have a good time on those holidays. But those other things that you do miss out on are going to be, at least from the family perspective, your kids' birthdays, anniversaries, things like that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the sacrifices you make because it's never far out of my mind what you guys are doing out there, and the fact that, yeah, some of us are working, but some of us are really working. They're really pushing it. So remember those guys out there. If you've never thought of a MAF before, now I hope that you do. So again, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to do this, and hopefully we catch you the next one.